and welcome back to my channel. Thank you for joining me. I hope you're having a fabulous Saturday. Today's video is going to be a wear test and a product review of Zabrena's lash line, which is Inky Minky Lashes. I have been following her for a couple years now. I absolutely love her channel. I love that she really focuses on drugstore makeup. For the longest time, I've been wanting to try her false lash line because her eyelashes just always look so beautiful in her videos. And so I finally pulled the trigger and bought them, and we're gonna do a wear test today. So I bought two different lashes. Okay, so the first set that I picked up are human hair lashes, which I've never tried before. I've only done synthetic lashes. And this is in the style Unapologetic. And then I also got a synthetic set, and these are in the style Blessed. And I always love her lashes because they just look so natural without being over the top. And they're really very affordable too. So I believe these were both $5 a piece, and you can get quite a few uses out of them. The one thing I was worried about with the human hair is on the website, she specifically says you can't get them wet with water because it will ruin the shape of the lashes. So that's the only downfall that I see of these, but otherwise these are really very natural looking. They're nice and wispy, so I'm excited to give these a try. So I am going to be using the Unapologetic set today, and I will try the synthetics later. So we are going to be going to the county fair today, which I'm super excited about. My son has not been to the fair in obviously a couple years, and he's finally old enough to actually ride rides. So we are gonna do that today, and again, I'm gonna be doing a wear test. So let me go ahead and do my face. I am gonna be trying a couple different techniques that I've seen from Tati, and then actually Zabrena had a tip for some mixing liquids that she had on a recent video, so I'm going to be trying that today. So I'm going to speed through the stuff that's just standard makeup application, and then I'll slow it down on the portions that are going to be new. So let me zoom you in. Okay, so I just used the Too Faced Pumpkin Spiced palette using a la mode here in the crease, just something super quick. And the first kind of technique that I'm gonna try is with a loose powder shadow. This is by Leni, L-E-N-I, and this is a loose shadow in the shade. Of course, it's not gonna be somewhere where I can see it. I don't see the shade name. Anyways, but it is just a really pretty, like, pink to gold shift loose powder. And I'm not a big fan of these just because I feel like they take so much time. And plus I don't feel like they stayed in my eyes. So when I was watching Zabrena, she had been testing out a bunch of Mehron products, and I had picked this up a while ago to see if I could get some of my not so great shadows to apply well, and I've yet to play around with it. But she used this on some of the loose powder eyeshadows, so I'm gonna give this a try today. So I'm just gonna take my little palette here and dump out some color. I've got a little pipette because this one, for whatever reason, doesn't come with anything. So I'm just gonna take, ooh, that's way too much, like a drop, and just drop it on here. And I'm gonna take a flat brush like this. I'm gonna try and do this without having this run off on me. I'm just mixing it up a little bit. But that's kind of what we're looking at right now. It's not the most exciting thing to look at, but let's see. I'm gonna put this on my eyes and see how this looks. And already this is just absolutely beautiful. It's super pigmented. I've tried using this shadow before and it just doesn't apply that intense on the eye. So That is just gorgeous. So I'm just taking more from the palette. We'll do the other eye real quick. So I also wanted to see how this would wear, if this would kind of like evaporate out and maybe leave the eyeshadow like clumpy or patchy, or where it would start to kind of fall off the eyes a little bit. But so far I'm loving how that looks. It definitely brings out the gold in that shadow, and it is building on itself very nicely. It's not, when I did that second coat, it's not picking up what's underneath, so I really like that. Okay, so high hopes for this one. So let me go ahead and let that kind of dry down a little bit because that is still a little damp, and I'm going to move on to the rest of my face. I'll do the other kind of hack that I saw on Tati's video. I had bought this Revlon Candid foundation and I didn't particularly care for it because I feel like it went really dry on my skin and just accentuated a lot of texture. So on Tati's video, she had said to take, again, a palette like this, take your foundation and squirt it on there, and then take any facial oil that you prefer and just do one drop, and that will help kind of smooth it out a little bit. So I just put a little tiny drop of that oil right here. Sorry, this is kind of hard to see. And then I'm just gonna take my little spatula and kind of mix it around a little bit. Ooh, sorry, it's like nails on a chalkboard. Okay, we'll just wipe that off. I like these because these are like stainless steel, so you can clean them very easily. So then we're just gonna go with our sponge and sponge this on. Okay, so already I'm seeing that, yes, that kind of thinned out the formula and added a little bit more hydration to it. That it is actually sitting on my face really nicely. We'll see how this wears throughout the day, but as far as first application, this is 10 times better than what I normally get with this foundation. All right, so let me go ahead and finish off the rest of my face. Just speed through this real quick and we'll get to applying those false lashes. Okay, now for the fun part. I'm not the best at applying false lashes, so we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna take these off here and we're gonna trim them to size. Okay, so let me see if I can do a close-up for you of what these look like. The band is very thin and the lashes themselves are very wispy. So let me go ahead and just size this. Ooh, I'm gonna take off quite a bit on this. Okay, let's check this. Okay, that looks like it's gonna be good. Okay, there's one. Let's do the other one real quick. All right, so I got my little, I was so proud of myself. I went out and bought a little pair of lash holders. Okay, there's one. We're gonna hope that stays. Looks like it's down, but I'm just nervous about that inner corner right there. Okay, let's move on to the other eye. Okay, here's number 2. For some reason, I'm gonna have to let these dry for a little bit. For whatever reason, this, let me zoom you in. This side looks fuller than this side. So I might have to trim just a little bit more. I mean, they look all right. It's just, there's a noticeable difference between this side and this side. Okay, that's a little bit better. I took some of the length off of them, but other than that, I actually do like the way they feel. They're very light. The band's thin. I actually didn't really struggle too much with application, even though the band is thinner. All right, so let me go ahead and just pop on some mascara to my bottom lashes real quick. Okay, so this is the final look. Like I said, we are going to be going to the fair here shortly in a couple hours. So I will report back tonight after we get back home on how the eyeshadow, this Mehron held up. I'll let you know about the foundation. So far it is sitting a heck of a lot better than what it normally does on my cheeks. So I have high hopes. We'll just see how this wears and throughout the day. And then I will give you my final thoughts on these human hair Inky Minky eyelashes. So I will check back in with you at the end of the night. Hi. It is 9:45 at night. I have been wearing this makeup for 9 hours and 45 minutes, but I wanted to check it back in with you guys at the end of the night and tell you what my final thoughts were on everything. The Mehron mixing solution is absolutely fantastic. I will zoom you in real quick. I have zero creasing, zero cracking, and the color is as pigmented as it was when I first applied it. So this is fantastic. I'm definitely gonna be using this more so that way I can like dip into my pigments and actually get some use out of those. As far as application, it wasn't too bad. It's still a little bit extra step. But because these are really foiled, I feel like I don't have to use a lot of other shadows with it to come up with a really beautiful look. So it's kind of a trade-off in time. Do I use my brushes and my shadow palettes and use multiple colors, or do I do one big wow statement of an eyeshadow and maybe just a crease color? So that's kind of the toss-up, but I'm absolutely in love with this stuff. This is fantastic. The trick with mixing in a facial oil with a more dry or cakey looking foundation, like I said, this has been on for 9 hours. I don't feel like it's changed. Looking in the mirror, I mean, I am a little bit more dewy, but I'm not as dewy as what I am with one of my more like hydrating foundations. So the reason I didn't like this is because it was a little bit too dry on my skin, and it kind of added texture to my cheeks area and around my nose and on my chin, and I am not seeing that at all. So I'm gonna definitely keep playing around with this, try this with a couple different formulas. I do have a couple other foundations that don't particularly work for me because they're a little bit too drying and, like I said, adding too much texture to my skin. So I'm gonna see if I can get those to work by adding a drop of this into it. So another trick that I am absolutely loving so far. All right, onto these lashes. These are beautiful, but I think I still need to trim them up a bit. I think maybe they're too far over on this part of my eye, and I need to bring them over a little bit and cut off a little bit more of this end, especially on this one. There is a significant difference in volume between the two sides of my lashes. You can see I've got like 1, 2, and 3 here, whereas this I've got like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like clusters. So there's definitely kind of like an unevenness as far as the consistency between the two eyes. Other than that, like, I asked my husband if he saw a difference and he didn't really see anything. I think it's just me being super nitpicky, but I definitely do think that I'm gonna end up trimming these just a little bit more so that it's not so intense on the outside here. And I also think I am going to play with taking off some of the length. They're just a little bit too long for me. I do prefer my false lashes to be a little bit more natural in length and just add more filled out volume and lift. So to me, these are just a little bit too, they're just a little bit too long. So I think if I can trim them up a little bit, I can get them to kind of look more like what I wanted. As far as the band is very thin, so they're very comfortable to wear. I'm not having any issues with them, but as far as like the overall quality of these, I really do like them. I just, like I said, I think I need to trim them up a little bit. Overall, I would give these probably like a 7 or 8 out of 10. Just for the fact that I am gonna have to do a little bit of work just to trim them up. And it's just a personal preference for me. I'm definitely excited to give the synthetic ones a try as well. These seem to be a little bit more wispy and more separated, whereas this set is more kind of clumped together. So that might be something I play around with too, is to try and get the shape of them to kind of like fan out instead of like clumped together like they are. Like you can see like the individual clumps, and I think they just need to be like reshaped a little bit. So I'll definitely keep playing around with them. That's kind of where I'm at, guys. So I am gonna go take off my makeup and I'm gonna pass out because it has been a very very long day. Thank you as always for joining me today. Hit that thumbs up if you enjoyed today's video, and consider subscribing if you are not already. I will see you in the next video. Bye.